Yeah.
Well, thank you
I'm just
guys.
kidding, man. I'm just kidding. You can wait.
No, it's all right. It's all right.
All
It's
right,
fine.
cool.
Okay, great, guys. Well, welcome. This is the xAPI Twine team. Alex has been coming up with a couple of names for our team, and I'm going to put that out as a poll to the channel
Everything.
later after this meeting. But I wanted to give you guys, or I wanted to say, welcome to the project, and I'd like you guys to introduce yourselves, please.
Right, I get started. I'm on top of the list there right after James.
Right.
It's Bianca here from Bianca Bauman from Toronto. Currently working with GP Strategies as the Director of Learning Experience Design. It's my third week, so I have no idea what's going on, but I'm getting there. I have absolutely no experience with Twine, a little bit of xAPI knowledge from DevLearn last year. I went to the xAPI camp, and yeah, I'm just super excited to take this on and learn more and get to know all of you guys too.
Welcome to the team. Thank you, Bianca. Scott?
Uh, yeah, thanks. My name's Scott Wilson. I am a teacher and trainer and online educator. I still am running an online program remotely from. I'm in Ireland and they're in Australia, so that's interesting. And I have the xAPI experience that I do have is from lurking in the last cohort last year, and that's about it. So I thought this time I would actually get involved and give it a go. So looking forward to it.
Awesome. I guess I'll go. I'm Alex Alice. I'm pretty active in the industry. I'm a learning designer, instructional designer. I started as a trainer probably about 12 years ago. So I know spring chicken. But always a young mind learning. So ideally, I specialize in designs with Storyline, and I have some experience with Twine and xAPI as well. And so, but at this point, in this cohort, I really want to take it a little further and see all that we can do with xAPI beyond, capturing responses, like, answers or quizzes and stuff like that. Something more like game driven in some respect. So that's primarily the interest. And I'm here, supporting the flex guy, supporting James.
Thank you so much.
Flex.
Yeah, right? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So yeah, my name's James Finder. I'm the owner of Promethean Learning Experience Design, and I know Alex through a couple of different roles, but Alex and I have worked together. We're going to be working together as well on the Storyline team. So if you're interested in joining that Storyline team and learning more about Storyline 360, or learning more about how we can tie xAPI and Storyline development together, definitely join that team. At team, I believe it's team SL360.
SL360, yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, great. So our goal, or my vision for this project, is to create something like this. I produced a sample of it on the Trello board, and I'll go ahead and pull it up now. So what I would like to create is something similar to this, what Melissa Milloway has done. Can you guys see my screen?
Okay.
Right? I'd like to be able to create something like this, right? Not necessarily this story, but this sort of look and feel that we've created a back end for, this story based on examples that I've provided from the Institute of Business Ethics. Right? We have 4 different potential sample scenarios, but we're also I'm definitely open to creating something completely custom. This is definitely a jumping off point for us, and an opportunity for us to be creative and be able to. I want to create an engaging story. Here's the central question I want to answer, right? right here. Can we create a scenario-based learning experience where we can encourage learners to make difficult decisions, track their responses, and try to create some kind of semi-customized feedback loop based on their answers, right? That's really my goal, right? So I'm going to stop right there, and I want to ask if any of you guys so far have any questions about what our vision is or what the vision of the project is.
Do you find here's one thing I'll say, because I know a couple of people mentioned that that they're not familiar with Twine. Do you have any type of tutorials they could use? I mean, because it's not difficult. It's just a matter of knowing that hey, you create links by putting brackets around the words and stuff like that.
So where that is I've put up the Twine wiki.
Okay, cool.
In the Trello board. There's going to be. I'm going to be learning just as much, but there's a really good screencast by Dan Cox up here that I'd recommend everyone take a look at. So to access Twine, that's all available through the wiki on the Trello board. And if you don't have access to the Trello board, let me know, and I will get you access. This is going to be my Bible for how to, sort out technical questions or develop stuff. It's going to be a lot of independent learning, but I'm also here to support this as well. So Alex, does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So again, I really want to identify some scenarios that can be developed for this learning experience. Alex, I really liked what you said about doing something sort of game-based. That's really what my focus is. My focus is really on the elements of putting the gaming elements of putting agency in the learner's hand. Does that make sense? Right? Where they're like in a game, right? You have an option to do A, B, or C, and there isn't necessarily a right or wrong response, and it's sort of based on the choose your own adventure style, right?
And James, I really like what you said with the feedback loop as well. So I think that's a great idea. Love that.
Thank you. So my vision, right? My goals are these, right? And I'd like to also be a little bit collaborative on this. If there's anything we're missing. So my goal number one is to create, an interactive Twine story, right? That's my number one goal. And then goal number two, track the responses of our learners using xAPI. And then our third goal is to based on a response on responses, how based on learner response, send customized email relating to answers, right? Does that sound about right? Can we tighten that up at all? I'm putting it out to the core team. Hi, Helena, how are you?
Yeah, so that sounds fine for me. I'm very much here to support like you seem to have very good goals and visions, so it's good for me as certainly someone who's learning a lot and sort of getting on board with it all to sort of focus on someone else's dream, if you like.
Sure.
And I think that last, even though it's probably not as eloquent and as pretty as we'd like to describe the goals, I think that's a fairly clear rundown, because in particular the last point, because we can give feedback to the learner through the game.
Right.
So So using xAP to then actually generate a report afterwards, you know, as if they're getting feedback from basically a performance report, is probably a better way to use it.
Based on learners' responses, let's change this up. It'll be generate. What was that language you used? Generate
performance
report. And how I don't know, using some, we need to determine a tool. How do we, and I'm open to suggestions here. How can we do that? How can we generate using HTML, right?
Well, here's a couple of parts that I would say. Maybe break down, like, because I mean there's a lot of possibilities with this project, right?
Sure.
So maybe break down goals into like 2 levels. Like your basic stuff will be what you're mentioning here, which is your interactive story, the responses, tracking the responses, and based on the responses, do that report. The report, I envision, you can probably, I mean, you can even do it within Twine to be sort of like a result slide, right? I mean, if you would.
Yeah, we could, but I'd like something that we're really utilizing xAPI to do something.
Okay. Well, because I'm saying in the advanced part of it, then you can. We can think about. Yeah, let me finish this real quick.
Sure.
We can finish having statements coming back from the LRS to the module.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So let's talk. So let's codify that some more, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have goals. You said there's a basic goal, so we'll say basic. Intermediate, and then this is advanced.
Yeah, sort of that, yeah.
Basic goal, so we have basic goal number 1, right? Create an interactive Twine story. That seems pretty self-explanatory, yeah? So for our intermediate goal, we want to be able to track our responses of our learners using xAPI, right?
Okay.
Is there anything how can we narrow that down or tighten that up at all?
Well, you know, the only thing I'll say is, one thing is to keep in mind that you have people that never seen xAPI, or this is the first time they're dealing with xAPI. So the one thing I would say is, I mean, tracking responses is a great goal. It's a general goal, right? Then you want to maybe focus down or drill down into what kind of responses you want to focus, because, you know, completing something is an easy one, right?
Right.
And
so
then,
we need to.
Right.
We need
I like where Alex, sorry, it's Bianca. Yeah, I like where Alex is going. It's kind of like, okay, obviously we want to track this using xAPI, but like, for example, we have like, let's say 5 branching scenarios in there. Do we want to capture that every branch? Do we want to capture that, or whatever they're called, right? So
right.
I think the level of detail, Alex, is that what you're getting at? What you would like to see?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, I mean, you know, always going in a constructivist type of a model, right? So, you know, we start with the basics, we hit the basics, and then we elaborate to something more complex after that. So,
what I also would like to think about is like, okay, we track this, but obviously we want to track it because we can, right? But kind of take it to the next level, like, okay, what does it actually tell us once we track it, and what do we do with it? And I think that kind of goes into, I think, what Alex said with the advanced goal, to kind of say, maybe can we bring back the feedback or whatnot? So I would love to see that as well.
Okay, so if I'm hearing you guys correctly, drilling down and making those, we need to develop something. We need to develop more than just completions, but we need to identify metrics that need to be tracked, right? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And it's so funny. I remember that from the xAPI camp. It was like, well, you know, it's not difficult to actually do this. The difficult part is to come up with the strategy. Like, what do you actually want to do with it, right?
Right. So we need to, sorry, go ahead, Alex.
Well, and so in dimensions, right? I mean, because, you know, again, this is like one of those things, since it's web-based, we can go crazy on it. I mean, we can do a lot of stuff. We can just do a couple of things. So with the amount of time that we have and the things that we're doing, maybe break it down in 2 phases, right? And we had the basic stuff on the goals, but your first phase would probably be to set up like the initial intro of the course, and kind of have like a, you know, are we capturing a user email are we capturing some kind of identifying data from the user, and then feed that to the LRS, and the fact that they visited or responded to a specific interaction. So
Okay.
that's your basic stuff there. You hit that, okay,
So
great,
let me
successful.
let me
Then go to
let me slow you down just a little bit,
Mhm.
because I think that's something that you and I can talk about in terms of next steps. How do we, you
Yeah.
and I can collaborate together and talk. What are our next steps? What breaking that down into phases. I think that makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense. So I think
Yeah.
I think that now is not maybe not the best time to do that, but
Mhm.
I definitely want to
Well, no, this is still. I'm still talking about the goal stuff. It's not. It's not the project. The project you kind of devised that. I'm talking about the goals that you're putting down together here.
uh-huh.
You got the basic stuff. You got the intermediate. Okay, great. We achieved those. Then on the advanced level,
Okay.
they mentioned. Bianca mentioned the feedback. So the feedback mechanism. You mentioned email. Other responses could be within the module or stuff coming back from the LRS, right?
So and based on the learner responses generating a performance report, what metrics are we gathering for the performance report?
I think for me it's also important to ask the question like why, and I know that we don't want to have like a huge scope and like developing like like the most amazing thing ever, but it's easier to develop the metrics if we have the why of why we're doing that as well, because otherwise we can gather all sorts of metrics, but it's also nice to have some sort of basis for that feedback and that performance report.
So, all right, let's ask that question now. Because if we're talking about the goal, I think I maybe misunderstood what Alex was saying, and I know we have about 10 minutes left of our meeting time. So I do want to I want to spend maybe 5 more minutes on that, and then I need to move on to another this last role right here. So okay, let's talk about it though. Why are we gathering metrics? I'm open to that conversation. So maybe we put that in the Slack channel. I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure. Let's let everyone put input into these overarching goals and these overarching sort of strategies that we're taking. Yeah.
So
one
ahead,
thing
Bianca.
for me, sorry, it's Bianca here. One thing for me, I think would be, I don't know, this will be a mouthful right now. We can tighten it up, but whatever metrics we get, we want to make sure we can improve on our story and the content itself. Right, so if we see that at the same spot, they always, there's no right or wrong really, but James, based on what you said, I think it was a sexual harassment or whatnot.
Right,
still
right.
Like slightly wrong answers, right?
Sure,
So,
of course.
So, if we realize they always go down the wrong path, it's like, oh, we probably need to go back and change something. You know what I'm trying to get at? Like that's the kind of information I want to see that will help us improve the content moving forward.
Okay. How can we improve the content for future learners? Question. Based on example. I'm just trying to capture this data. Based on
I know it's a lot of information.
Responses, why are learners choosing that particular path in the scenario? Is that
perfect? Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, Alex. It looks like what's up?
Well, primarily, you have. So I'm thinking you pick ethics, which is a great topic for companies. So you got inputs and you got outcomes. So what are the outcomes? And I guess one thing, if you go on that game route, you can maybe create some kind of levels of performance.
Okay.
So, and even make it, even not be so formal in a way that you can reflect what the consequences are, right? So, like, if it's a fraud and whatever course, hey, you're in jail, or hey, you still got your job, that kind of
Right,
stuff.
right.
But it's based on those levels. So that's it.
Capture. So we can capture different levels of performance.
Hmm.
Okay.
So when you get that branch interaction, what I'm envisioning anyway, right? It's we do this all the time, which is you can do it on a point-based system. Now you don't have to offer the points to the user,
right, but
because maybe it's
back
superficial. Right, but back end, you're keeping points, you're keeping track of the performance, and then you break down into levels, and you can then, when you give the report back, then provide that feedback.
Okay, so based on score, performance feedback is calculated.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, cool. So we need to definitely bring this out to the Slack channel as well. Now, once we gather the, example, fraud at a company, right? Sorry.
Or even in, in every respect, the sexual harassment could be also a
well, let's stick with fraud. You already had, you had level 1.
Yeah.
Your job. Level 2. You're
Right.
fired. Level 3. You're in jail.
You're in jail, yeah.
Right? Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So we can get more for that. What do we met? So we can identify metrics. That's something we can bring out to the Slack channel for responses as well. Okay. So the last thing I want to do in the last 5 minutes is we need to identify some roles and responsibilities. I know there's the project manager. That's me. But we need stuff like script writers. We need HTML designers. We need someone to implement the LRS. We need QA, QC. What else do we need?
Well, yeah, you already got QA there, so that's your reviewers, right? Your testers.
Yeah, testers.
Okay.
Okay. What else, guys?
Graphics people. Make it look pretty.
Okay.
I don't know if that is part of the
HTML
that's development.
Totally, we can. We can. If that's something that people are interested in doing, we can leverage that.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
Do you mean are the HTML designers the one that actually create the story?
No, those are going to be our script writers. The people. So we're gonna have a script writer. So if we look at Twine, right? We're gonna have Twine. It's gonna look like one.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure if you meant script writers, like, you kind of really lay out the story before you go into Twine. So, sometimes it might be separate. Like you have someone writing the story and then you have someone putting it into Twine.
Well, no, what I was going to say, when I saw script writers, I thought people that would write the JavaScript.
Good point. So I'm glad we talked about this.
Yeah, all right, fine. So we need a JavaScript developer.
Right.
Okay. What else? We need story writers. That's a good point. And then
that's what I thought script writer was.
so story writer, and then we also need a scenario writer, right? Someone to give us the context. Scenario/context writer, right? So I think that kind of comes off of, these scenarios, right?
Mm-hmm.
This gives us a pretty good context, but we could change it, right?
Yeah. James, I think though that you can just condense that into the story writer. Just give those 2 jobs to the story writer.
Okay.
Otherwise, they're gonna have to work together anyway.
Yeah, so you might as well combine them. Okay, HTML designers, someone to implement the LRS, testers, graphic designers, JavaScript dev. What else?
Seems pretty much.
I can't think of anything else right now.
Yeah.
We're probably in it, and then we're like, oh my gosh, we forgot about this.
Well, okay. So my goal is also to. I'm also one of the things that I need to. Here's the last thing. I'm going to be creating a Google form to sort of gauge like who's interested in designing this,
Yeah,
and what their level of commitment is.
Mm.
Because
What's your expertise, James?
my expertise.
Yeah, what are you taking any of those roles, or are you staying?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I want to be. So these are the roles that I envision taking.
Okay.
And
That's it. Okay.
And then I want more than one story writer. So I'm thinking because it just can't be me, right? And I want, but this
I'd love to write the story with you, James.
You want to write with me?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Unless you don't want to write with me.
No, of course. I'm totally on board. So it looks like Helen said Helena, I apologize. Helena had expressed interest in HTML.
There. Yeah.
Is that right? Okay. Well, I'm gonna put it up, and then we also have level of commitment I'll create those sort of.
So are you looking like hours per week or something like that?
Yeah, honestly, yeah. Like, so it's gonna be. Listen, I'm not asking anyone to spend more than 4 hours a week on this. Like, that's.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like an hour a day is probably like the max I want to tax anybody on this. So my level of commitment is sort of going to be like lurker, low level, medium level, high level. High level is going to be 4 hours a week. Medium level's 2 hours a week.
I can probably do the JavaScript.
Okay, so.
In terms of LRS, do we have one? Are we using one of the ones that Megan put into the channel? Like, what are our thoughts around that?
I have an account. I recommend Jet Analytics, but
that's what I was going to recommend either Learning Locker because it's open source.
Yeah.
Right.
Or if you have an account for Yet, let's. If we want to leverage that, I'm more than happy. If it's already created, then let's. I mean, the issue I guess is, Alex, are you okay with sharing the data? I guess we can talk about that later. But
well, actually, it's not. It's a free one, so it's not. It's not
okay.
I'm not paying for anything.
Okay, cool.
I mean, anyone can get the LRS because it's free.
Right. I'm just talking about the data that we generate.
Yeah, well, the thing about it too is that I'm using that one for my team for the SL360, so that might be an issue.
So
yeah. I think I actually, after the xAPI camp, I think I actually got access to Watershed, which I never used because I had no reason.
You know what the problem? Yeah, you know the problem is Watershed.
Nothing in there.
Watershed is it's limited.
Okay.
So we can look at maybe we want to look at. So all right, that's something we need to to figure out.
Well, no, what I'm saying is limited. Is that it limits you to a specific number of activity statements, or in users and stuff. So once you get past that, you have to upgrade.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking high is, like I said, 4 to 8 hours a week.
Holy Moses!
Like I said, high 4 hours a week. We'll call it
high as I'm smoking something, or
right all day. 2 hours.
Man, it's gonna take me 4 hours to work on this.
Does that look about right, you guys?
Yeah, I like that.
Cool. Okay. All right.
Cool. All right. So I'm going to put out this updated kickoff agenda. This is going to be updated in the Trello as well as in the Slack channel. I know we've run over a little bit. I'll also be posting this recording. I saw Melissa, you joined. If you want to hang on, I can sort of fill you in on where we sort of ended up. But everyone else, thank you so much for your time. And please feel free to ask me questions via
Hey,
Slack.
Jens, real quick,
Yeah.
before you end up, I just thought about something here. I don't know if any of these roles cover it, but we got to think about the functionality programming. So I guess it will be part of either the HTML designer, but I don't think. I mean, it's what I'm thinking about is the interaction design.
Can I ask a quick question before everybody leaves as well?
Sure.
This is Melissa. Who's done this before?
Done